Okay, so today we are talking with Gwen Taylor, who, full disclosure, is a dear college friend of mine. She's also a kick ass mom and an amazing therapist.
Oh,
Gwen tragically lost her mom in a freak boating accident back in 2014. And that experience triggered in her something that she refers to as death anxiety, which we're going to dig into deeper today. Gwen, thank you for being on the podcast. First of all, it's really great to see you. It's
it's
been
so
way
good
too
to see
long.
you.
And I'm sorry this is how we're meeting, but I'm
I
so
know.
thankful to be seeing you.
Well, like I told you, I've
Um,
never been so excited to talk about death.
okay, so I will say this is an incredibly tragic story. You were on your honeymoon. You got the call that your mom had been in an accident. Tell us what happened, as much or as little as you
Yeah.
feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah. My husband and I were out in California, and one of my sisters lives out there. The other one lives here in Tampa, where I live. And my sister here called and said that there had been an accident. My parents were in Key West for like mini lobster season, and they're on a catamaran with a bunch of other people, and yeah, this boat like out of nowhere, they're in the middle of nowhere, and the boat. We've heard various stories. We don't know, like if it was on autopilot. Like we don't exactly understand, but the boat hit my parents' boat, turned at the very last second. And some people stayed on the boat, some people jumped in the water. My mom and another woman were two of the people who jumped in the water and were hit by the boat. My dad was actually underwater diving at the time. So he surfaces to the Coast Guard, like the accident had already happened. Um, and surfaces to seeing, again, we've heard like different stories whether or not my mom had passed away yet or not, but it was my mom, and the other woman was had a traumatic brain injury. The boat
Okay.
hit her in the head. She ended up living and ended up miraculously being fine, but unfortunately, yeah, my mom wasn't so lucky. Um, and yeah, the whole it was, yeah, it was a really like in a matter of an instant, like getting a phone call, and like your entire life just everything completely is flipped upside down.
And so you got that call, and we've talked about it. It triggered in you death anxiety. Like talk about, like, was that instant? Was it like, how do you remember the phone call? Do you remember processing it? Do you like what was that like?
So and this happened in 2014, and so I remember it like it happened yesterday. I remember
Mm.
my sister calling. I remember seeing, like, I remember I remember that whole day. And I've gone through therapy, and I've done different, you know, uh, interventions to like try to deal with that trauma. But yeah, so I remember it like it happened yesterday. And I feel like, at the beginning, you're more, because it's trauma, right? So it's more like shock. It's like your
Hmm.
body, like I don't I don't really remember crying, like because your body is just like, wait, your whole brain is like, wait, I cannot process this. Like
Is it like
what
autopilot, or is it just like?
it really is. Yes, it really is autopilot, because it went into, so my sister who lives in Tampa had to get down to my dad, had to pack up my mom and
Mm.
help pack up all of her stuff, and bring my dad home, because obviously my dad was not, like, so we had to take care of my dad to get, to get him back to Tampa. And so there were so many moving parts, and then planning a funeral, and then contacting people. Like there's so many logistics that had to be taken care of, that you do go into autopilot, and it's just like you can't grieve yet.
Right, right.
I feel like it didn't really totally hit me until after the funeral, because her funeral was in, I think, like a week and a half or maybe 2 weeks of when she died. Like it was very soon.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like it didn't really start hitting me until then, until everything, like the out of town family was gone, and life kind of like I went back to work,
Right.
everything went back to normal. And that's
Right.
when it's like, oh God, like, you know, this is, now it's like, okay, now this is something that, yeah, that I need to deal with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so tell us what is death anxiety? How did it manifest? How did you know what it was? How soon did it kind of come on? All of that.
So for me, and everybody deals with it different, right? Like, and I think maybe because I'm a therapist, and you know, like each member, like I dealt with it different from every other member of my family, right? Like with everything, everybody's different. But for me, like I knew that I needed to get into therapy immediately. Like I knew, so I went to bereavement counseling,
Hmm.
um, and I was just, I had always like kind of had like some anxiety, but nothing problematic, right? Like nothing that interfered in my life, nothing, just like, all right, like feeling a little anxious. But after that, I feel like it was always being afraid that something's going to happen, because here's this, you think, oh, never me. Oh, this is such a crazy thing. This is never going to happen to me. My mom's never, like
Right.
this crazy thing happened. Like the whole story is crazy. And here's this
Well,
thing
it's
that
like you had
happened.
this, yeah, this one, like this tiny little piece of the globe and the
But
entire ocean, and this horrible, horrible
correct.
thing happened just right. Yeah.
Right. And like their boat was like literally no other boats around. Like they were like, it was just such a freak thing that
Yeah.
then my brain was like, well, of course this can happen, like, of course this can happen again. Of course, so it just, I feel like it really, um, yeah, it really highlighted and heightened my anxiety into always thinking like something bad could always happen. Not
Yeah.
necessarily to me, but more so to other people,
Right.
right?
Like an
And,
irrational kind of thing? Like were they irrational feelings you feel like, or
I feel like yes and no. Like I think just, like I feel like anybody worries, like if somebody, oh, a car accident could happen, right?
right.
Like we take precautions, but it was, if I didn't hear from, like if I knew like one of my loved ones was going somewhere and I didn't hear from them, my first, like I would get like, oh my God, something happened, something happened, something happened.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so it's something, oops, sorry, something that so so it probably heightened it, yeah, in an irrational way. Like constantly thinking, always thinking that something bad was going to happen to a loved one.
And how soon after your mother's accident did this start did you start noticing that you were having these kinds of feelings?
I think it was, like, looking back, I think it was pretty immediate. And I think I really noticed it when my son was born. My son was born, so she died in 2014. He was born in 2018.
Mhm.
Once he was born, then it was like, I mean, I feel like a lot of, like, any new parent, right, has
Right.
the fears of, whether it be SIDS or whatever it is. But I really noticed it when he was born,
And
constantly thinking, like really, like constantly thinking that something bad was going to happen. Well, why not? Something bad
right.
did happen. Well, why not? Of course it
Right.
can happen again.
And so you're a therapist, so I mean, like, I suspect you probably, like you said, you knew immediately you needed to get into therapy, um, and you knew what type of therapy. Like,
Mhm.
so, you know, what would you recommend to somebody who may have gone through something not similar, obviously, because that was such a strange thing, but a really traumatic experience. Like,
Right.
what is your advice to them?
I mean, I feel like everybody's on their own journey with death. Um, in people that I know, when they've experienced a loss, I do. I do recommend some sort of counseling, whether it be bereavement, and depending on the situation, trauma counseling, depending on what, you know, how the person died, or what have you. Um, but I feel like, and I don't judge anybody if they, like, someone has to be ready, right? They have to do what's best for
Right.
them.
Right.
But I feel like if it, if someone can address it, the sooner the better,
Right.
I feel like it really does make a difference. It really does help. It really does help in the process. Because the stages of grief and all, like, it's a process. It's unfortunately a long process. And so I feel like if the earlier the intervention, the earlier someone seeks help, I feel like the better the outcome, the better they're going to feel.
So, in terms of your specific pursuit of treatment and of help, what were some of the actual, like, the tactics that you were provided or the tools you were provided to deal with? Like, how would, so you've kind of explained how it would manifest and you would have these thoughts. So what were the tactics you used to kind of navigate those thoughts and move past them or address them, or I don't know what the
Right.
preference is.
Right. Oh, no, no, no. I get it. So at the beginning, so the bereavement counseling right at the beginning was just kind of processing it, right? Like getting it out, because there were like there were a lot of there were
So, like,
different
talking
layers.
about it,
Talking
talking about
about
it.
it.
Okay.
Exactly. Exactly.
Acknowledging it.
Um, she recommend it's funny. She recommended group therapy, and I never did group therapy. For some reason, for me, I was more comfortable with one-on-one, but I've heard, you know, people love doing group therapy. So that was a recommendation that the therapist had that I never actually followed through with.
Yeah.
But I was with her for a little while, for like a year, I think, if I remember
Mhm.
correctly, like a yearish. Um, and then when my son was born, it was more. Then I saw like a different kind of therapy, like more actual, like, cognitive behavioral interventions to use. And then later on with a different therapist, we did what's called ART, accelerated resolution therapy,
Mhm.
um, to help with that's used specifically with trauma.
Okay.
And so because I had like these different images of that day of that I couldn't let go of. And so I
Right.
feel like different through the years, I went through different stages of therapy.
Mhm.
And what I needed at the different stages, the type of interventions were different.
Okay. And would you consider this kind of something you'll be dealing with the rest of your life? And at least now you have tools to navigate? Or is it something that you are finally able to kind of, with the tools you have, close the door on it and move on?
I feel like I feel like it's definitely, I mean, it always rears its head, especially like the anniversaries, right? Like the anniversary, like it's weird. Like your body knows, like it's just, it's
Yeah.
really bizarre. Um, I feel like I'm in a better place as far as her death. Now it's dealing with the anxiety that resulted from the death.
Right.
Separate,
Right.
So my anxiety of not being so much of a helicopter parent with my son, trying to prevent something from happening to him. Like, I
Right.
know I can't keep him in this bubble. Like, rationally, I know this. Rationally, things are out of my control. So now for me, I feel like I've gotten better with that. So that's the piece of it that I think is more of a constant struggle.
Yeah.
More so,
Yeah.
that's what I need to address. Like her actual death is, I've processed this point, like processed that part of it
Right.
pretty, in a like pretty well in a sufficient way. But now, yeah, now it's, all of the fun things
Addressing
that
the,
happened as a result.
yeah, like triggers and things like that.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my son was, when he was born, I mean, thank God it wasn't anything serious, but he was very sick for a very long time. Like he had
Mhm.
it's a fever syndrome. And so like every few weeks he would run a really high fever, like 105.
Oh my
And there
God.
weren't any other symptoms. And so like
Right.
when they're that young, they have to go through all these tests to rule out some really scary things. And so there were actual things happening, health things happening with him, and thank God everything was okay. But that was that. So here's like a real
Oh
thing
yeah. Yeah.
triggering my anxiety. And so having to like process all of that and um, process something real that was happening that wasn't
Yeah.
just, um, just anxiety out of nowhere. It's like, no, I have a child who's sick. Scary things are being ruled out. He's constantly sick. And, so that was a fun time.
Aren't they all fun times?
Oftentimes. But
Yeah.
a lot of it, like, a lot of it does come down to, a lot of it is cognitive behavioral therapy, like just addressing, like, we can't control our thoughts necessarily, but we can control our reactions, um, our thoughts about our thoughts, and reframing it so that it can help change the
Can you
emotions
give
that
an
are linked to it.
example? Give an example of something like that.
Of like cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah.
Well, just like, let's see.
Of you said we can't control our thoughts, but we can control our thoughts about our thoughts. What's an
So,
example of that?
so what I tell people, like, thoughts may pop into my head, like I can't, like, for instance, back then, like I can't control, um, having feeling scared that something's going to happen to my son, right? Like
Right. Right.
that thought may come in, but what I do have control over is, okay, how am I going to reframe it instead of jumping to worst case scenario, or, oh my God, what if this happens? The what ifs, the what ifs, what ifs.
Right. Right. Right.
Like
Right.
my therapist works with me and saying, okay, what do you know to be true today? Bring yourself back to today. What do you know to be true today?
Right.
Keeping yourself in the here and now, reminding yourself, is this based on facts or is this based on emotion?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's just so it's not necessarily like, I may still have the thoughts that something's going to happen to him.
Mm-hmm.
But when I do have those thoughts, how do I deal with that? What do I
Right.
tell myself instead of jumping to worst case scenario? Keeping myself in the here and now, and what do I tell myself right
Okay.
now to get me through right now?
So that's a really useful thing for anybody
Yep.
dealing with this. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's hard. Like, look, it's, especially when something bad has happened, like it's hard. Like it's like, it's a constant, it's a constant struggle for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you've got those tools, and now our listeners have those tools, which is awesome.
Yay. Yay.
So it's been 11 years since your mom died.
Yep.
What do you guys do to keep honor her and keep her alive?
Well, that day is also my husband's birthday. So it's
Oh,
kind of, yeah. So
yeah.
it's a mixed bag. Um, we actually, this past anniversary, I was actually with my sister out in California. Um, and so that was interesting, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
here we are 11 years later, and I'm in the place
Where
where
you
it
were.
happened. Yep.
Yeah.
Um, so we all, I will say, not that we don't honor her now. I mean, I will say for the first few years, like the first anniversary, like we spread some of her ashes and did more, did things like that. Now you know, it's just looking at like our kids. Like I have a son, my sisters have kids, and just, now I think, and we were actually all together as a family last year for the anniversary.
Hmm.
So it's just like you know, looking at our family, looking at our children, um, and honoring her that way, and knowing
Yeah.
that, here's her legacy. And she's
Yeah.
definitely looking down on us and laughing at us that, this is our karma when our children are completely giving us hell. And she's like, ah, there you go.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yep.
payback. But yeah, I think now it's more just, yeah, just honoring, now her legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what advice would you offer somebody who has just lost someone unexpectedly or tragically, in terms of, I mean, I know there's no universal, everybody navigates things differently, but is there any sort of general advice that you would offer in terms of the immediate right now?
Um, give yourself grace.
Yeah.
And somebody said to me right when she died, actually somebody that I went to high school with, and put it on Facebook, like but I will never forget this. And I tell everybody this, when they've experienced a loss: let the love of others buoy you. And I think that, especially in the beginning, yeah, let the love of others buoy you. Like, having a support system,
Hmm.
reaching out
Yep.
for help. And I know that's easier for some people and harder for others, right? Everybody's different. Um, but giving yourself grace, and yeah, letting the love of others buoy you. And it's, there's no right or wrong way to grieve.
Hmm. Hmm.
Everybody's journey is different. I mean, like I said, you know i I dealt with it very different than the rest of my family. um and it's just, yeah, there's no right or wrong way. And hopefully, like, I really do think, um if you can, just seeking, getting some counseling
Yeah.
immediately. It really, I think, it really helps. I think it's really beneficial.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. I have two kind of rapid fires that I
Yep.
ask everybody.
Yeah.
Uh, One, are you afraid to die? Why or why not?
Yes.
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 Yes. Period.
Yes.
Next.
Um, and why or why not? So why? I think, like most people, like the unknown, right? Like,
Hmm.
how is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Um, where am I going to go afterwards?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
all of that. And
Yeah.
now that I have, now with a little, it's like that layer too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
That's a big layer.
if he's, you know what I'm saying? So there's that piece of it. So yeah, no, it's, yeah, I'm not really digging that thought.
No. Yeah, I
No.
gotcha.
Mm-mm.
And then, what is the biggest lesson that you've gotten from what you went through with your mom?
Um, I think, and people do say this, I think it changes you.
Yeah.
It definitely changes you. Um, and in some ways, I feel like, in some ways, I think it changed me for the better. I think it may, I mean, I don't think I wasn't not, I don't think I was not compassionate beforehand, but I feel like, um, maybe I don't know, like, I think maybe I have more empathy now. I think maybe, I understanding what's, important,
Yeah.
understanding what's important, what really matters, and who really matters.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say or share or offer?
I don't think so. I think it's just, I mean, grief sucks, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
hard. It really
Yeah.
is. It really is hard. And I just, again, I mean, I don't know if it's because I am a therapist, like, I'm such a proponent of people getting therapy and getting help, but
Yeah.
it really, and again, like, sometimes it's trial and error, finding the right therapist, like,
Yes.
but I
Yes.
really feel like, I'm really, like, a really big advocate for getting some counseling and for getting some
Yeah.
support, and having that neutral person, um, guide you. Like, yes, like, letting the love of others buoy you, and having that neutral person, who's trained to help you through this.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's a
I think,
journey, and there's no right or wrong way, and giving yourself grace and not, not judging yourself. It's, you're going to have good days and bad days. And it does. And again, I know it's a cliche, but it's true. It's just time.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And then you want to be like, but how much time? How long is it going to
I know.
take? And there's just no
No,
answer.
there's
Yeah.
no answer. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah, it's just time. Like I will say, like, I never thought, right, when it happened, I never envisioned myself to be where I'm at now with it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not that I miss her every day, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's different layers now that I have a son and she's not here, and that sucks. And but I feel like, I never, I didn't envision myself being where I am today.
Yeah.
And here I
I'm
am.
proud of you.
Oh,
I'm
thank
proud of
you.
you.
Thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Gwen, always, I love seeing your face again.
I
So
love
thank
seeing
you
you.
so much for being on and for
You're
sharing.
so welcome.
All right.
You're
And
so welcome.
let's next time talk about something else.
I would love it.
All right. So good
Okay.
to see you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
All righty.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.